guys, this is E10 Sun from SunBros. Today I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this brand new video, but before we get started with that, I want to make sure I remind you guys on how to get entered in for a chance to win our guaranteed skin giveaways that we do every Sunday night during our 1-hour question and answer live stream. All you gotta do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and comment below with your in-game name and which skin you'd like to receive on either the NA or EU servers under 700 vouchers. And remember, the more videos that you do this with that are uploaded each week, the higher chance you have to win. Alright guys, welcome to part 1 of a 3-part patch note series. I'm so excited to have finally gotten the official patch notes. They haven't even been released to the public yet, but I'm making these videos. Before they do it, I'll release the videos along with the release of the patch notes, so I'm a little bit ahead of the curve here. Okay, so part 1 is going to be game changes. That includes changes to the battlefield, the new Drake changes, the new Dragon changes, the new, Dark Slayer changes, the new Spirit Sound, all that kind of stuff. Everything that's changing to the game is going to be in video number 1. Video number 2 is going to be item changes. We're going to discuss all the changes that are happening to in-game items. And video number 3, of course, is going to be hero balance changes. It's going to be a long day of videos for you guys because there's so much changing that we need to talk about, and I'm really excited about it. Okay, so starting on the very first thing here is the battlefield changes. Okay, so it is, as it says here, Challengers Arena Valor will be receiving one of its most significant updates on August 30th. We've packed so many changes into the update and applied a fresh coat of paint to nearly all of the models in the arena. Welcome to Battlefield Reborn. Okay, so first thing we're talking about is the Abyssal Dragon. After 10 minutes into a match, the Abyssal Dragon will now evolve into the Enraged state. Now, we've seen video footage of that when we did our last video of the Battleground changes. The Enraged Abyssal Dragon spawns every 5 minutes. Good to know. Enraged Abyssal Dragon will grow in power as the match goes on, stopping at 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Gold granted to the team that defeats the Abyssal Dragon increased from up to 120 gold per person to up to 144 gold per person. So that's not a huge increase, but certainly not insignificant. It just makes the dragon buff a little bit juicier. Okay, after defeating the Enraged Dragon, all heroes on that team will receive a different buff according to their hero's primary class. That's what we talked about in the video. We were breaking on the Battleground changes, but we didn't know what it was. Now this is the list. Tanks are going to recover 1% of their maximum HP every second. Warriors are going to increase their attack damage by 50 plus 10%. Assassins are going to increase armor pierce by 100, magic pierce by 75, and movement speed by 20. Mages are going to get increased ability power of 75 plus 15%. Marksmen are going to get increased crit chance by 10% and armor pierce by 15. And then supports are going to get a unique passive. Nearby heroes recover 100 HP and 50 mana per 5 seconds. Now, the reason why that says unique passive is so that if you have 2 or 3 support heroes, you can't get those benefits more than one time. So 100 HP and 50 mana per second. That's nice. It's just recovery. It's nice to have. Okay, so let's talk about that portion really quick. I think it's all pretty fair. Tanks are going to be harder to kill. Warriors are going to do more damage. Assassins are getting some nice stuff there. 100 armor pierce is a lot. I mean, 50 attack damage plus 10% will probably end up being somewhere around 100 attack damage, which isn't nothing. For some warriors, it'll increase their attack damage by a total of 20% in the end, which is nothing to maybe even 25%. I mean, it's nothing to look down upon. That's something decent. Assassins are getting, that's a nice armor pierce and magic pierce depending on what you do, and then a movement speed, of course. So that's pretty solid. Mages are getting a sweet deal though. 75 ability power plus 15%. Remember, mages, so you get the 75 with some mages with certain builds. You're going to be able to get your ability power to over 1700 ish, which is a pretty solid amount, and then 15% on top of that. You might be able to find a build. I'll work on it. I might be able to find a build that gets you to 2000 ability power, which is just nutty. Marksmen are going to get more crit and armor pierce. That's really solid. The armor pierce plus 50% is really good. Now, the one thing we want to check out about that is the armor pierce by 15%. We need to find out if that works based off of flat armor pierce. So, it's going to work on flat armor. So, like, we have a rank breaker, which gives you 100 armor pierce. It's going to work in connection with that. It's going to give you 15% more, so 15 more armor pierce. Now, does it work with an item like Miramasa, which gives you a flat 40%? How is it going to get 15? So is it going to do the math? 40% of 100 is 40 plus 15% is going to, you know, give you an even 6 more. So we'll have to find out if it works in conjunction with your Masa or just works on your flat armor pierce totals. And then, of course, the support one. Okay, so then the next thing, so that's pretty interesting. I think they're all pretty decent. I don't think that one's necessarily way better than the other. I think the mage one is pretty insane, though. If I had to pick one as like the best buff, it's the mages. They're going to get a sick buff. And I do need to know, I do wonder for dual class heroes. So okay, this is on top. They'll receive a buff according to their hero's primary hero class. So it's not the secondary class, it's not. If it's listed as 2, it's the first one listed. So that's interesting. Okay. Then the second part is the Abyssal Stone. Okay, so the Abyssal Stone makes a hero immune to lethal damage one time. So we heard about that in the video, last video. But then upon taking lethal damage, a hero will become invincible for half a second and recover 1,000 plus 10% HP, which is a lot, I think. That could be as much as, you know, as little as like maybe 500 extra damage from the 10% to as much as, you know, over 1,000 or maybe even close to 2,000 extra damage. So you could potentially get somewhere between 1,500 to 3,000 HP extra from that, and you're gonna be invincible for half a second, which in a game like Arena of Valor is a long time. All heroes can pick up the Abyssal Stone regardless of which team defeats the enraged Abyssal Dragon, which I really enjoy that part of it. Now we're moving on to the Darkslayer news. Darkslayer spawns. They changed the spawn time from every 6 minutes, beginning at 6 minutes into a match. Now he spawns every 5 minutes, beginning at 8 minutes in the match. So that's interesting. So now we have longer to wait for Darkslayer, which is really interesting. And then the Darkslayer will grow in power as the match goes on, stopping at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Now they changed the buff. So change Darkslayer buff from increasing attack damage and ability power by 30% plus restoring 1% of HP and mana per second. So they're taking, so the now it restores 1% of HP and mana per second, plus provides additional plus 20% movement speed bonus when leaving the altar in base for 9 seconds. Plus HP and mana regen granted by the altar continues outside the base while in battle. Okay, so that's the interesting changes. Okay, so really they nerfed the Darkslayer buff tremendously, and the reason why is because you're going to be getting the Drake now from the Darkslayer buff, which is really something that you're going to be wanting. The majority of it comes from that, so you have a lot more regeneration, which is nice. So if you're pushing mid lane with the Drake and you take damage, you're going to get your health back and be able to continue a push rather than having to back, which is nice. You're going to get movement speed bonus when you leave your base, which is inconsequential. 9 seconds is a long time, so it'll help you if you have to back for an emergency situation, for example. You'll be able to get back in 9 seconds is quite a bit of extra speed. You'll be able to get into, you know, where you're pushing faster, and then the HP and mana regen granted by the altar continues outside the base while in battle. We need some clarification on that. If they're saying the altar is like the main hub where you gain HP and mana like crazily rapidly, that's overpowered. That's nuts. That's really strong for 90 seconds. That's really, really good. So if it's that you get a whole bunch. We'll have to figure out exactly what that means. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you get the HP and mana regen you get when you're in your main base, and that is a lot of extra health. So we'll find out about that a little bit more. New Drake Mondester. The player who kills the Darkslayer can now summon the Drake, available for 90 seconds. After summon, the Drake will attack towers along the closest lane. So you can choose the lane you want. After summon, the Drake will grow in power continuously for 10 seconds, gaining 7% damage reduction for every 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 35%. So you kind of want to summon the Drake early so you can let it gain its power up to 35% damage reduction. The Drake is visible on the map and cannot destroy towers alone. It's interesting. I wonder how they're going to pull that off. Like, how is the Drake... We saw in the video the Drake is attacking the tower without minions and without the hero. Does the hero need to be nearby for him to engage a tower? Like, how exactly is that mechanic going to work? We'll have to find out when the patch comes out, but it's interesting. Okay, so Drake Sword passive. All ally minions gain 25% max HP, 10% attack damage, and 10% movement speed, and their physical size is increased by 10%. So they're going to get a size boost, they're going to get extra damage, extra health, and extra movement speed, which is solid. Movement speed is actually pretty OP. That seems like a small thing, but those darn minions always take so freaking long to get to where the tower is for you to take them down. That'll help. Regardless of whether minions are with the Drake, the damage that the Drake deals to towers does not change. Each time that the Drake attacks a tower, counter damage is inflicted upon itself. So the Drake will take damage every time it attacks a tower, and then obviously when it runs out of damage, it flies away. Killing the Drake will earn a hero 25 gold and 0 XP, so that's nothing crazy. Okay, so there's a picture of it, you know, attacking a tower, getting ready to attack a tower. Next is the Spirit Sentinel. Change the buff from restoring 2% HP every second and increasing movement speed by 60 after exiting combat for 60 seconds. Now it restores 50 HP every second and increases movement speed by 20. Plus increases movement speed by an additional 40 after exiting battle. So that's interesting. So the HP regen and the movement speed now is constant. And then you get additional movement speed while after exiting battle. Remember, exiting battle takes a little bit of time, so that's actually pretty nice. Gold granted to the team that defeats the Spirit Sentinel will increase from 30 gold per person. How did not increase? To 30 gold per person base, increasing up over time, up to 54 gold per person at 10 minutes. So that's interesting. So the Spirit Sentinel becomes worth more gold over time. Nothing crazy, but still something. So it's interesting. For tanks, the Spirit Sentinel is not worth anything much. 2% HP is a lot for a tank. I mean, tanks, you know, they get 10,000 health easy. So that would have been 200 health per second for them. Now they're only getting 50. But for a squishy, it's still a nerf on the health. Now the good part though is you get it during battle, so it's kind of nice. But I don't think it's anything change-wise that's going to be like detrimental or anything like that. I think it's good for junglers mostly. They'll be getting health back while they're jungling, and they'll have the increased movement speed always to help them get around the map faster. Okay. Now we're going to be moving down to some other game changes. Okay, so they made some interesting changes to the jungling function. They've overhauled the economy of the jungle. XP and gold gained from defeating monsters in the early game are reduced, while it increases in the mid to late game, leading to an overall higher output than before. Change the amount of... So that's... A slower early game is really going to be detrimental to junglers, because getting to level 4 sooner than everyone else is one of the things that allows you to have a successful early gank. And that might actually change the dynamics of the game dramatically. Let's see how big it is. Change the gold amount earned from monsters that increases... normally increases every 30 seconds from 2.6% gain throughout the match to 1% for the first 2 minutes of the match, increasing to 4.5% at 8 minutes. After 11 minutes, the gold amount increase caps at 165%. Change the EXP amount earned from monsters that increases by 30 seconds from 77 through the match to 3% for the first 2 minutes, increasing to 10% at 8 minutes. Interesting. After 11 minutes, the EXP amount increase caps at 240. Okay. So, jungling late in the game is going to be beneficial. Very beneficial. Base gold earned from the Sage and Might Golems decreased from 78 to 65. I'm not so much worried about a decrease in gold as the XP. Base gold for Tree Toad and Luminous Wizard, Wild Monkey, and Rock Crab increased from 50 to 55. So the smaller ones have more gold given now. Now towers have some changes. Team XP from destroying a tower decreased from 300 XP per first turn to 200 XP. They're really wonking around a little bit how jungle's played and how objectives are, how much objectives are. Now, XP is great, but a sturdy shield changed from the first tower in the Darkslayer lane, leaving 50% damage reduction during the first 3 minutes of the match. So the first tower in the Darkslayer lane having 50% damage reduction during the first 3 minutes of the match. The first tower in the Darkslayer lane having 50% damage reduction for the first 3 minutes, plus the second tower in the middle lane has 50% damage reduction in the first 6 minutes. So the first tower in the Darkslayer lane has damage reduction, it always has, for 3 minutes. Which is why attacking towers in the first few minutes of the game in the Dark Star lane is not any good. You're much better off trying to steal enemy jungle, rotate, you know, do almost anything right over that. You know, that's going, whatever you gotta do. Rotating to mid, trying to steal enemy jungle, anything is better than sitting in your lane doing nothing after you've killed your wave. Now the second tier tower in the middle lane has a damage reduction for 6 minutes, which is interesting because a lot of times people really push to knock down the first two towers, or you know, the towers mid lane first. So that now, you know, going hardcore for a mid push is less beneficial than it used to be. It used to be kind of where like people would converge from Dragon side lane, the roamer, and the Dark Slayer laner would all converge and really do a 4 or 5 man gank mid lane, try to get those towers down faster. It's a little bit less beneficial to do that in the first 6 minutes now. The first tower still drops fast, but the second tower will have a massive damage reduction. Minion waves are also changing. Additional gold from last hit increased from 30% to 40%. So last hitting is going to become even more vital to your success than it was before. Minion HP gain during the match changed from 2.77 from 0 to 10, and 5% to 10 to 20, and 3% from 20 to 30, to 3% 0 to 10, 6% 10 to 20, and 7.5 20 to 25. So that's a dramatic increase. The first 10 minutes it doesn't increase, but after that it's not that much. But 20 to 30 minutes, if your game lasts 20 to 30 minutes, these things are going to increase health a lot from that portion. So minions are going to become even harder to kill. Make it even harder if you're getting blitzed by like 3 lanes with their minions. It's going to be so much harder to kill them. It's going to be stupid. Minion HP gain limit increased from 315% to 400%. So yeah, minions are becoming stronger late game. A lot stronger late game. A little bit stronger early game, but a lot stronger late game. Okay, minion movement speed gain increased from no gain during a match. After 10 minutes, minion waves will increase movement speed until it reaches a maximum of 126% base movement speed at 18 minutes. Base movement speed is 300. So that's another interesting addition. They're almost like they're forcing minions to get to towers faster and to have more health, giving teams more time to attack and kill towers. Hero kills. Gold reward for a kill is decreased from 200 during the entire match to 150 gold for heroes level 1 to 3, 200 for heroes level 4 and above. So early game gold gain is not as good. Now, again, that's a pseudo nerf on junglers when they get to level 4 and gank a lane and they kill 2 level 2 heroes, because it's level 1 to 3. 2 or 3 heroes, they're not going to be losing 50 to 100 gold early. First blood gold reward reduced from 175. Again, junglers a lot of times frequently will get first blood, so they're losing gold left and right. They're trying to. Junglers are very important. They tend to obviously always lead in gold in their game if they're playing their position properly. They're trying to balance that out a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. I think for a good jungler like myself, I don't think it'll be nearly as serious. I'll be able to adjust, but for some of the pseudo junglers, people who don't understand how to play objectives as a jungler, people who don't understand how to properly rotate, steal jungle, you know, hit the right lanes at the right time and help secure objectives. If your jungle game consists of getting as much gold as you can and then trying to kill people, you know, whenever you feel like it, and you have no real strategy or understanding of when and what to do, that's going to hurt you. But for the good junglers in the game who have a really solid concept of strategy, this isn't going to mean too much. It's obviously a nerf, but we'll be able to work around it. We'll figure out what to do. Reduce the XP reward for killing enemy heroes level 1 to 3. Again, another nerf for this is mainly aimed at jungle, which is jungle's an overly strong position now. They get wildly fed and wildly ahead in level. This is a way of balancing that a little bit. I can't disagree. I'm a jungler main, and I can't disagree. Junglers get really far ahead in the XP and gold, and this is going to balance them out. Okay, they changed the comeback mechanic. From all heroes at a lower level than the highest level hero would receive 50% more EXP from kills, minions, minion waves, jungle monsters, and tower kills when behind by 2 levels, and 100% more EXP when behind by 3 levels. Friendly heroes at a level lower than the average of all enemy heroes will receive 40%. So it's based on the average, not on the highest level. It used to be 50, 100, 50 and 100. Yeah, 50 and 100. to now it's 40, 80, and 100. The average though, instead of the highest level person, which is interesting. Then they increased EXP gained from 4 per second from minute 6 to 10, 5 per second, 10 to 12, and 6 per second after 12 minutes to 5, 6 steps. People are going to be gaining XP at a faster rate from minute 6 to 12 plus. So they're trying to increase the probability or potential for a comeback to an extent. I think the first one is a nerf to that. It's 40, 80, 100 instead of just 50 and 100, but it's the average. So it's more trying to get the very, very bottom feeders on both teams up faster, which is interesting. They increased the passive gold gain from 2 gold per second throughout the match to 2 gold per second before 6 minutes and 3 gold per second after. So yeah, they're just trying to really get that evened out a little bit more. So we have one more thing to check out as far as game changes go. We're gonna do that right now. Alright, so the last thing we got to check out is battle mechanics and some matchmaking and like game polish optimization kinds of things. So battle mechanics: silence no longer interrupts normal attacks and other non-channeled casting abilities. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, and it's a big nerf to heroes like, there's not a whole lot of heroes who have silences. Grak has a silence, Alice has a silence, and I'm sure there's a couple others I'm forgetting. I think that might be it though. Silences are very rare. But this is the reason why this is important. If you're mid ability that isn't channeled, so I'll give you an example. Let's say that Flash is dashing and Alice throws down her ult where he's dashing to. Flash would immediately stop dashing. Bam, he's stuck in her ultimate. Now he can dash to the ult without being silenced. He still gets silenced, but it won't stop what he's doing currently. So that's really interesting. There's a lot more examples that I could use as to how that's going to work, but that's a nerf to Alice for sure. Grak, not so much, because Grak isn't really going to be interrupting people with his stomp, but it could happen. It could have an effect in some way or another. The other features: added ranked draft assists. We have no idea what that means. When a returning player joins a group, I mean, it sounds interesting, but we don't know what it means. When a returning player joins a group, they will receive an additional team opponent. So if you're in a game and I don't know, I'm not even gonna guess how that works. I think if you just keep teaming up over and over again together, you're gonna get additional team bonuses or what. But they added Valor Prime. I'm not sure what that is. Added a lane selection interface to the hero selection lobby. Okay, that's cool. So you'll be able to choose what lane you want to play in. If this works the way League of Legends works, before you even go into a game, you'll be able to select what lane you want to play in, and it'll try to suit you people who want to play lanes around you, so you can get your preferred lane. I don't know how that's gonna be, because it says to the hero selection lobby, so it's probably gonna be, instead of saying I want middle, I'm going jungle, I'm going top lane or dark lane, or I'm going whatever, it's going to allow you to click a button and then tell everyone. It'll show, boom, this guy's going jungler, so everyone will know what lane you're going to. That's actually really cool, because a lot of times people will take punish in lane, which is a very popular and wise thing to do with certain heroes, and everyone's like, oh, whoa, are you jungling with that, or are you going in lane? Well, now they can just say, I'm going Darkslayer, without having to do the chat version of it, so that's interesting. Added a ranked tier defense mechanism, so we'll have to find out more about that when we find out, but that's, you know, helping people rank up more. Once a month, all players in diamond tier and below will have a chance to prevent dropping down a ranked tier. Okay? After this one-time defense, another loss will result in ranking down one tier as usual. They added an AI assistant to the main menu that will provide players with tips, reminders, and other help. Alright, and then we're moving on to matchmaking. So we're at the bottom here. Changes were made to our matchmaking algorithm to more fairly and efficiently match players in groups. Read all of the details in this blog post. Players that were part of a queue when someone did not ready up in time will be prioritized when being placed back in the matchmaking queue. So, if you're in a queue, you know, somebody in that game doesn't ready up and it starts over, you'll be prioritized to hit the top of them. Windows for using, purchasing, and selling items will now have sliders to adjust the quantity of items. Interesting. Oh, I see. Okay. After joining a lobby with friends, that's for like in your backpack and stuff like that, I believe. Or like in the store. After joining a lobby with friends, you can now return to the main menu without being kicked from the lobby. Oh, cool. That's great. I can't tell you as a streamer how much that means to me. if I'm in a lobby and I want to show somebody a build, or I want to go back and look at the stats from the last game or anything like that, I have to leave the lobby and start the lobby all over again. That is huge for me. I'm really excited about that change. That's going to be, that means more to me as a streamer than most people, but I think everyone will appreciate that at some point or another. Hero ability descriptions will have more detailed ability bonus numbers outside of matches only, so that's cool. There's gonna be more detailed information in the descriptions, which helps me as a build creator be more efficient. New sound effects for monsters, Dark Slayer spawning, Dark Slayer death when the Drake is summoned, and for spawning base. So cool. New sound effects added that will be able to be heard by everyone on the map based on some big events happening like those. Alright guys, that is it for the game changes part 1 of our massive August 30th patch coming in. We're going to be doing part 2 next, which is going to be covering all the item changes, and there is a lot of them. Guys, thanks for watching, and as always, until next time.